I love scones, and there's so many different varieties. And when I've made them in the past, I use cream, and I definitely don't use butter and egg. But my godmother Irene, who has a Scottish heritage, swears by these two additional ingredients. So to start off with, the wet ingredients. In a bowl, I'll crack 1 egg along with some sugar, so caster sugar. And you want to just start whisking this up until it's combined and the sugar starts to dissolve. All right, now that that's starting to become quite thick and rich, we can add some yogurt. Another ingredient I usually don't add to my scones, but it gives it a really delicious texture. So in with the yogurt, and you can substitute the yogurt with a different fat if you like. So if you wanted to use sour cream, it also works quite nicely. So whisk that together, and that's the wet ingredients done. Over to the dry ingredients. So I'm just going to be using a sieve, and I'm going to put this all on a board, saves washing up another bowl. So into a sieve, I'll add my flour. Now this particular flour is ideal for making scones, cakes and pastries. We're going to get a beautiful crumb from it. So in with that, along with our baking powder, that's going to give us a lovely lift. And I just like to put this through the sieve just so it combines really nicely together. Now I'm going to make a well in the centre, and I will add a pinch of salt. And now I'll start incorporating the butter. Now the butter is quite cold, and we want to form a crumb, and the best way to do this is to start with your hands and squish it together, and then once it starts to become slightly clustered like so, you can even just use just a pastry cutter just to break up the butter. So we've got lots of little cold pieces of butter throughout this fluffy flour. So we'll just gather everything together again, and then we can slowly incorporate our wet ingredients. So in it goes. I'll add half to start with, and just use a spoon to bring in the sides and fold it together. A little more. And then the rest can go in. And start to gather it and press it together, ensuring not to work the flour too much. You just want to bring everything together before we start rolling it. All right, I'm happy with the way this is looking. So just very gently, I'm going to roll this out into a rectangle. You want it to be about 3 centimetres thick. And I've always got a little extra of the plain flour on standby just to sprinkle over the top to ensure it doesn't stick. And this is a little trick Irene taught me. We're just going to fold this over like a blanket, and by doing that, we're getting lots of layers of the butter and the flour, so we're going to get a beautiful lift on these Scottish style scones. Now I'll flip that over, and we're going to roll that again to about 3 centimetres thick. Okay, now we can start forming our gorgeous scones onto some baking paper. Place your cookie cutter just in the flour, and we're going to cut out our scones. We'll place them onto our tray, and this makes exactly 6 well-sized scones. After I've finished making these, they go into the fridge. I like to just chill them for about 30 minutes before we brush them with some egg yolk, and then it goes into the oven. Now, I cook these at a really hot temperature, so about 220 degrees, and they're going to take about 7 to 8 minutes. Well, don't these Scottish scones look the part? You can see the different layers there, and that's because of that cold butter that we've used and because we've folded that gorgeous dough. Now, for me, there's only one way to serve scones, piled up while they're still slightly warm with some cream and jam, maybe a little icing sugar over the top. And what I love about these Scottish style scones is the layers. It almost says, open up. Oh, look at that, and add some cream and jam. So I know there's 2 schools of thought, but personally, I like jam on the bottom A nice big smear of that, and then a big dollop of fresh cream. That is the ultimate scone right there. They honestly are the most amazing scones. Like I said, crispy on the outside, perfect tender crumb in the centre, just delightful, particularly with that strawberry jam and cream.